You can call into the show at 724-444-7444 using call ID 30273#. Now, here's your host, Ryan Clark.
Hey, what's going on, guys? And welcome to the Tuesday, September 1st, the brand new month, 2009 edition of WZR Radio here on WZROnline.com. I'm Ryan Clark. He's Matt Boone, and we're going to be here for about the next 2 hours talking lots of pro wrestling, some big news from the past week. We had the big deal with the Rey Mysterio last week, as well as Monday Night Raw from last night, and we also had a UFC 102 pay-per-view this past Saturday night. So we're going to talk about all that. We're going to take your live phone calls. We've got our live chat room open as well, WZROnline.com/chat. I'm sure you guys will hear that enough throughout the night. Live phone calls as well, like I said. But before we do all that, Matt Boone from Orange Park, Florida. It's crack-a-lackin', my man.
I'm chilling, man. Just ready to get into this little shindig here. Like you said off the air earlier, sometimes you're jacked and you're pumped up and you're ready to go, and sometimes there's those weeks where you're like, oh, Christ, 2 hours. I got to get through 2 hours of this and try and sound enthusiastic about it. It's not always easy, man. I'm all right tonight, but you're a little under the weather, I hear.
I'm all right, man. We'll be able to.
Tired or something, right?
Yeah. It's been a rough few days with between yesterday and today. Got a lot of people here staying at the house, and
that's a few days, by the way. Today and yesterday, that's a few days.
Well, you know how that stuff works. So I got a lot going on, but you know what the problem was is last week when we went off the air, I said, man, that was one of our worst shows that we've ever done in like 8 or 10 years. You know what I mean? And then I went back.
That's what you said, but I mean.
Well, I went back and I listened to the archive, and I guess, I don't know, maybe I set the standard too high. You know what I mean? Because I went back and listened to the archive, and it wasn't all that bad. You know
I was going to say, because if you compare it to, no disrespect to these gentlemen, but if you compare it to, I would say, any Ryan Clark and Jose Rivera show, I would say it's better than that. So it couldn't be the worst in 8 years. I mean, that's a little harsh, no?
Well, I know. There's been a few times where, man, this shindig's going off the air, and it's been like, whoa. You know what I mean?
What was that?
Yeah. Last year, I don't know. I listened to the archive of last week's show, so it came across better than I thought, and we'll get through it tonight, man. 2 hours. We got, like I said at the top of the hour, we have UFC 102, which we're going to talk about. We had Monday Night Raw last night, man. Me and you were talking. Well, that was in progress, and boy. You know, I don't know. We'll run it down from top to bottom, but man, oh man! I mean, when you watch a UFC pay-per-view on Saturday night, and then you follow it up with that from last night on the USA, you know, it's just
that.
I don't know. Yeah, it was bad, man. Last night's show. Yeah.
That might have been one of the worst shows in 8 years last night.
Yeah, well, I've seen. I mean,
I'm exaggerating. Come on.
I know. There's been some terrible WWE, especially as of late with, the Hornswoggle Chavo thing from last night. The first thing I was thinking is if people are just flipping through the channels, you know what I mean, and they come across that where you have, what was it, a cow? Chavo Guerrero dressed up as a cow and a midget dressed up as a cowboy, and I'm thinking
a little person. The hell?
A little person. Well, whatever. What did you say last week? Didn't you say something last week which was I don't even know. It was way off.
No, it was a bunch of weeks ago. I said something. What the hell did I say? I said you can say whatever you want about what was it? Midgets and what else? Midgets and deaf people. Midgets and deaf people, because deaf people can't hear the show and midgets can't reach the keyboard. Something like that.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Or no, it was midgets and retards, because retards aren't smart enough to use computers. That was it.
But I'm thinking, dude, when people are tuning through the channels last night and come on to see that Hornswoggle, I mean, what are they thinking? You know what I mean? Pro wrestling as a whole, I mean, people are going to tune and most likely go buy it unless you're like a diehard fan.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'd say if you're a casual fan and you tune in and you see a cowboy thing going on, you figure, oh, this is pro wrestling, all right, and you keep going. So what they expect that kind of stuff if they don't like wrestling. That's what they think it is, and then WWE proves them right by putting that kind of crap on.
Well, they talk about that PG rating, you know what I mean? And that's another thing that came to mind is, all right, you've got a guy dressed up as a cow in the ring right now. I mean, this just caters to kids, and they got the laughs.
It's PG, but there was still, I think the finish came when he pulled the rope up the Chavo's nutsack, and then he was biting him on the ass after the match. There's nothing really PG about a midget biting a guy dressed as a cow and beating his nuts up.
Right, but it's all corny stuff. You know what I mean? It's all comedy, and it had the laughs from pro wrestling fans. I mean, if you were to put that in front of, like, say a UFC crowd, because we've been to UFC pay-per-views and WWE events, and it's two completely different people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if you were to put that in front of a UFC, say you had 12,000 people in that arena last night. Say you have 12,000 people in a UFC arena. I know they're there to see different things, but do you even think that any of the UFC fans would have gave it that slight laugh that they had last night? You know what I mean? It's horrible.
Well, you also got to look at the demographics of those 12,000 people for different crowds, because in the wrestling crowd, out of the 12,000, I mean, I can't even guess the number, but I mean, I would say a good percentage of the building is younger people, whereas at a UFC, it's 20-something-year-old people drinking beer and getting rowdy. So they're not going to laugh at some corny ass jokes like that. But whatever.
You're right. Hey, let me get some plugs out of the way. The live phone number to call in hour number 2. We're going to take your live phone calls at 724-444-7444. When the operator comes on, she'll ask you for a call ID number, and that is 30273, followed by the pound key. We've got our live chat room tonight, WZROnline.com /chat. Lots and lots of people in there, as always, tonight. All you guys that are under guest usernames, go to TalkShoe.com. You can register. We'll do chat shout-outs here in hour number 2. As long as you're a registered user. It takes 2 seconds. Just go over to TalkShoe.com. Be all set. The official website of WZR Radio is WZROnline.com. Lots and lots of news and rumors and all kinds of other good stuff. Shoutbox that seems always popular. Yeah, photos. Lots of stuff. WZROnline.com, the official home of WZR Radio. What else do we have? TNA Impact taping tonight. They taped it last night in Orlando as well. 3 weeks worth in 2 days. So tonight and last night, you're going to get 3 weeks worth. We have last night's spoilers are on the main news board right now, WZROnline.com for that. And like I said, we have more Impact tapings tonight from Orlando. We also have SmackDown and ECW being taped tonight. Where's that? Cleveland, I believe.
Yeah.
All right, Cleveland, Ohio. That is the East Coast. So hopefully before we go off the air here at about 9 o'clock Eastern time, we'll have partial SmackDown spoilers. Not sure what they're going to
Okay, yeah, I think you're getting into it now. I was going to say, how does that work as far as the tapings go? Because if they're re-airing Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker from WrestleMania for ECW, what's going to happen in the arena while, you know what I'm saying? Like, what where they would usually tape the ECW stuff, what's going to be being taped or what's going to be happening in the arena during that time?
Well, I mean, there was another commercial that aired during Raw last night where they promoted Christian being on the show. So I think there's going to be, I mean, I was trying to think earlier today, how long was the WrestleMania 25 match? I mean, that was the main event, right? It went. It was at least 30 minutes. Maybe they're just going to do like a highlight thing of it. I don't know. Do we figure out why they're even airing it? Do we know? No, I haven't. Maybe. That's weird. I mean, you're coming off the NBC WrestleMania special that they did on Saturday night, which we didn't get here. We had a Giants versus Jets game that was going on, NFL preseason football. But they're coming off that, and I don't know. Maybe it's, you know what I was thinking earlier today is Vince McMahon he's hinted that he wants to do a new TV network. You know what I'm saying? With original programming from WWE. So I was thinking, I mean, it's only ECW. I mean, we know that, I mean, as far as Raw and SmackDown are concerned, ECW is just jobbed out to both of them. You know what I mean? But as far as, I mean, I'm thinking maybe they're going to air this match to get a feeling where if they promote something up like this, what something like that would draw. So if they
on cable as opposed to the WrestleMania special, which was on network TV.
Right.
Because he wants to do a cable network, yeah.
Yeah, so if you were to do a cable network, they would get a feeling after tonight because they promoted it on Raw last night pretty well, you know what I mean? So they could get a feeling what some of the ratings are going to do, you know what I mean? When the ratings
maybe. I don't know why the hell they're doing it. I don't know.
But I mean, as far as your question as what they're going to do in the live arena, well, that's being aired on national TV. I mean, they could just tape it and then insert it in later, and then the SmackDown tapings would end at an earlier time, obviously, tonight. I don't know. I'm not really sure, man. Well, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, but isn't ECW live? Don't they air that live or no? No, they tape it. You just put it on radio. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
If it's on the East Coast, yeah, it's taped. So I mean, they're on the East Coast tonight, so they could insert that at a later time. So I don't know. We'll see what they do. That comes up ECW on Sci-Fi about an hour after we go off the air tonight, 10 o'clock. What else before we get into? We got a lot of time, man. We didn't have a pay-per-view this week.
That's why I just threw that joke in about mocking you for saying 10 o'clock. I figured we got time to do shit like that tonight. So.
Yeah. I mean, we just got time to burn, dude. You know what I'm saying? So, well, what else? What'd you do over the weekend? I know we had UFC on Saturday.
I hung out, did some stuff on Friday. Saturday UFC. Sunday I didn't do nothing on Sunday. I just working, regular stuff, nothing big.
Dude, I mean, whenever there's a UFC pay-per-view, everybody flocks to Clark's house, you know what I mean? Free pay-per-view, everybody goes to Clark's house, who's paying for it, you know what I'm saying? But I had nobody on Saturday. Well, I can't say nobody. It was me and my sister were here, and I had Dan, and that was it. I mean, no Sean, no Liz. I mean, nobody came over, and I'm thinking it's these pay-per-views where, you know, everybody comes when Brock Lesnar fights, and, I mean, Lesnar's like the main guy now, you know, as far as my group of people that I hang out with. So whenever
as far as anybody, I mean, he's the top guy in the UFC right now for sure.
Right. But I had nobody, and I'm thinking this is Randy Couture versus Nogueira. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not a throwaway show. You had Randy on that card, so I was shocked.
I'm interested in the buy for that because, I mean, it is Randy, but I know Nogueira is, like, you know, a big deal, but I don't think that many people either don't know who he is or they don't think he's anything because the only fight they would have saw was when Frank Mir just dismantled him. And like we said last week, he had a staph infection. He had a torn meniscus in his knee. I mean, that was not the real Nogueira in there. That's just the Nogueira that says, I'm not going to put off a fight. I'm not going to reschedule it or postpone it. I'm just going to fight it how I am. You know, I'm a tough guy. And we both predicted last week, correctly predicted. And I think we're like the only two reporters in the world that predicted Nogueira would beat him. And we were pretty confident about it, too. I mean, I'm not just making this up. You can go listen. We were saying this stuff last week. Nogueira's going to do him. And that's what happened, basically. I mean, we'll talk about it more later. But you said it's these shows that you don't expect, like UFC 102, where the card, it doesn't look, I mean, it's a good card, but it doesn't look anything like the Brock Lesnar UFC 100 card, you know, nothing like that. But it's these kind of cards, I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, that they turn out to have the most amazing fights, and they're the ones where you usually skip the pay-per-view because you're like, it's not, that card ain't that great. And then you kick yourself in the ass because it turned out to be an amazing show. We didn't have that problem because we both decided last minute to order it. You know, we knew there was enough good fights.
Well, see, I'm always, UFC I order on a monthly basis, but as far as WWE and TNA, I do the stream thing. But I was talking to you on Saturday, and you said, you know, you didn't know if you were going to throw down the money, and I said, I don't know, man, I may get a stream tonight, I'm not sure, but man, luckily I ordered that. But I mean, it's like those, even the shows that they do on